Welcome to the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters, right here. I am Mike Galetta, aka Hamilton Mike. Up your Hamilton Mike, bringing you another solid NFL special with my partner Brian the Ranger Tard, talking about it. 32 NFL fans and 32 NFL teams. Today we go out to the Mountain West team, the AFC West, to talk about those Denver Broncos. Today we have the pleasure of being in studio. Chris Izzy. Chris, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, because why, Brian?
We only bring winners here.
Only freaking winners here,
really,
folks.
I mean, if you're going to talk about winners, you know.
That's it. You talk about winners, folks, right here. Defending champs, that's right, with a half-assed quarterback. Anyway, we won't get to that. Brian, stat me. Let's go.
Denver Broncos. They finished 12-4 last season. They did win the Super Bowl, so congratulations to them.
Attaboy, Chris.
Offensively, they had 14th best passing attack and the 17th best rushing attack, but their defense was absolutely stellar. They were #1 in the league against the pass, 3rd against the run.
Yep.
For having won a championship, it's going to be quite an interesting offseason for the Broncos. The plan was to have Brock Osweiler take over the reins for the quarterback position when Peyton Manning retired, but he did leave for a big contract to Houston. They ended up trading a pick to the Eagles to pick up Mark Sanchez. Who I don't have a lot good to say about that.
And we still won't next week, so that's fine.
Yeah, but after a back-and-forth courtship with the Niners, there were talk about them possibly getting Colin Kaepernick. That did not materialize, but they did move up in the draft to take Paxton Lynch, who fell to them, and he hopes that their quarterback of the future, he might be their quarterback of the present. All summer long, they had another controversial situation with Von Miller, who was the MVP of the Super Bowl. They did end up signing him to just a massive contract. But again, for a team that's won the Super Bowl, it's going to be a very different Broncos team coming into the season. So, get me excited about Mark Sanchez. I'm asking a lot, I know.
Right, I'll get you excited. Maybe he gets hurt the first week.
The Paxton Lynch era begins then.
They call it like it is on the Sports Box. They don't sugarcoat anything.
No.
So.
Well, maybe a little bit.
So the running game. Last year, they kind of went from running back, I mean, whether it was C.J. Anderson, whether it was Ronnie Hillman, I think Monte Ball's going to run the team, but is C.J. Anderson going to finally take that role and be like the workhorse back that really Gary Kubiak would want to see?
I think that's what they want. They just signed him, and he's getting a lot of the first string reps right now. Personally, Ronnie Hillman, you take him or leave him as far as I'm concerned. I think C.J. Anderson is the guy, and then they have that rookie that they just drafted, Booker. And from everything that I'm reading, he may steal Ronnie Hillman's job. So, but C.J. Anderson, is a first string guy. He can also catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. So.
The offense, the loss of Julius Thomas to Jacksonville. That was a loss in itself last year, but I think they've gotten over that. With the running backs, it seems like it's a plug-and-play system, and that's a benefit to Denver, which anybody going back to Davis has done well in that system. But the wide receiving core is kind of an interesting group. How do you feel that the total wide receiving core is going to do this year?
I think it depends on the quarterback. I think with Sanchez at the helm, I don't think you're going to see that big of a year, out of Demaryius or Sanders. They'll get their numbers, but Sanchez doesn't have a big arm. He's I guess more of a volume guy, so they may get their numbers that way. But I see him sliding back a little bit.
Now, the defense again was phenomenal all year. That's the reason they won the Super Bowl. Again, for a Peyton Manning-led team, it wasn't because of Manning's arm. Anybody who watched the games last year knew that. Do you think that they're kind of going to smell themselves a little bit? Do you think that they're a bit of maybe a Super Bowl hangover for a team that had a lot of studs on defense?
I mean, it is hard to go back to back.
Yeah. They still have some studs. They still have Derek Wolfe. They signed him. He's a monster. And Von Miller. The secondary is still pretty good. But we'll see. Wade, he's an awesome coach, right?
He's an awesome defensive coordinator.
Yeah, you're right.
Being a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't say I would use the word coach loosely with him.
Same thing for Broncos history. He wasn't a Broncos coach here. Yeah, so I'm hoping that that they play as good as last year. You know, they did lose a few pieces, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how they do.
The defense, it's funny to say, like Brian said, they won last year. I mean, strictly on, I think, on their defense. Their defense was so solid, shutting everybody down. It's hard to see that them build this team, not worrying too much about the offense and just loading up on defense. Now, this defense is stacked in certain aspects, but you look at the depth chart a little bit deeper. Of course, we do that at Sports Box. If they get a couple injuries, this defense is in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a kind of roll of dice, kind of let's hope this defense stays healthy. Do you agree with that point?
Yeah, they're going to need to if they want to have any success. You know,
because you're relying so much on the defense.
Yeah, with basically a game manager quarterback, right? So that they're hoping that defense kind of keeps them in there, right? I can see it now. Sanchez getting them so far, driving them down, and then doing his usual, nice pick at the absolute wrong time. You know. So.
Mark Sanchez is throwing the phone.
Yeah,
a couple, thousands.
So they went Paxton Lynch in the draft. I think that was the obvious selection for a team that needed a quarterback because they didn't really need much else. Going in the draft, I think you kind of felt that's probably the way they were going to go because that was their obvious need. From what you saw, did you see a tangible difference between a guy that the Denver Broncos took very late in the first round compared to a Goff or a Wentz that two teams paid a lot to go up and get those guys?
Yeah.
When you were looking around, did you really think there was that much of a difference between a Lynch and a Wentz or a Goff?
I can tell you this. I have faith in John Elway, right? I think if they grabbed him there, then he must be what they're looking for, right? With Wentz, who knows what you're going to get out of a one AA guy, and how many quarterbacks in the past went early and were busts,
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. I have all the faith in the world in my boy, John Elway. I think he's incredibly smart in that area. So I'm hoping that he got the right guy at the right time.
It's funny, if you would have watched our NFL draft show, all you draft guru guys out there, I had Cook from Michigan State going at Denver at that pick, but unfortunately Cook dropped because of the comment that he made that, well, you know what, I'm the captain, but look what all the other guys did. So unfortunately he dropped out of that spot. You know what, Paxton Lynch is a fine quarterback. I think he'll be okay. I think he's not going to be the quarterback that takes over this team in 2 to 3 years, but I think he is going to be the guy that they groom for the future. It's just a matter of when they can get him in there.
Well, I think the benefit he's going to have is if you look at what Goff's got around him and what Wentz has around him and then what Paxton Lynch has around them, all of a sudden, it's not inconceivable that he would play, I don't want to say like a Ben Roethlisberger did when he first came into the league, but that he's got a lot around him, so that's a strength for him.
But then on the backside, now you talk about the Rams, Eagles, and the Broncos. The Rams, who does he have to follow Goff? He's going to get thrown to the wolves. The Eagles have Sam Bradford, who's only there on a one-year deal, and everybody's ready to run him out of town already.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the Broncos, who, he has a good team around him, but offensively he's got Mark Sanchez to learn off.
Yeah.
Maybe that could help in some aspect because Mark, as bad as Sanchez we think is, he is a veteran in that team, and he can kind of give him a little bit of stability to get his own plan in effect. I don't know. I just think, I like Chris. I think the Broncos might take a step back, but I still think they're going to be on the right track as long as they can get that quarterback position ironed out.
Thought for a minute there they were going to have to get a chance at Nicky Foles there.
No, then we really would have ripped it tonight. But that's okay. What I have for you, looking at the schedule, I mean, obviously the division is tough to begin with the Chiefs up and coming, and I don't think the Chargers or anything. I definitely think the Raiders make some noise this year, but with their schedule, I mean, they do have the Patriots this year. Hey, let's not sugarcoat this. Coming up with the Super Bowl, you're not going to have a cakewalk. But I got to ask you about the 3 games I look on the schedule, or actually 3 out of 4 that I think are going to be very tough for them. Is home against Kansas City, and yes, I did say home against Kansas City. On the road at Jacksonville, and then off a week they play Tennessee, which is I think a win.
Bye week.
The bye week, and then they play home against New England. I think 3 out of those 4 games are going to be very tough situations for them.
Yeah, I agree. The Patriots this year, even though it's in Denver, that's going to be a tough one. And same thing with the Chiefs, man. I think the Chiefs are probably the strongest team in the division this year. So going to be tough.
But even from the start, I mean, their first 3 games, they got the Panthers again off the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep. They're hosting the Colts coming back, with Andrew Luck, and then they're in Cincinnati. I mean, they have an easier game week 4.
Your ass hurts. They go to Tampa, they're in trouble. Anyway, we won't get into that now, folks. Did I curse? I'm sorry. Get that else. Cut that. Got it. All right, we got it.
But that's not an easy start to the season either. I mean, they have spurts where they could easily go 1-2, and then that's tough for a team that's trying to get their footing after winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is they play the Raiders twice, so there's 2 wins right there.
There you go.
So.
Yeah. I'd have to differ with you. But anyway, we won't get into that now. That's a different show. So, thank you for watching. That's all the time we have for Denver today. I want to thank Chris Izzy for coming in studio today. Chris, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute. Because why, Brian?
Only to get winners here.
Only freaking winners,
That's
folks.
a prerequisite to walk in the door.
That's it. We had to get the Super Bowl champs here, absolutely, before the season started. So, and remember, at the Sports Box, we've got some good things coming.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at SportsBox Show. Share your thoughts. We're going to be getting everything up there. Listen to what the fans want, and hopefully giving you what you're looking for.
And remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters. Chris, do you know? It's right here. You gotta tell him. He doesn't know. That's all right. We'll get him. It's the only right here, Chris.
Right here.
Broncos know it's only right here.
Right.
Take care. See you.
Don't forget to subscribe.